Welcome to Dubs Talk Live, brought to you by Mancini Sleep World with Zena, Keita. I'm Kerith, Burke. The Warriors played with guts or fight or whatever you want to call it, but there was a fourth quarter drought that did them in. The Warriors clawed back from a 19-point deficit. This was a slow start for the team, but they fought. They worked their way back into this game. But that drought, Zena, what was it like watching that for you?
It was difficult, especially considering the Warriors were doing the things necessary to get the shots open. It wasn't as if this was a tough situation. That could have been a finish, just not enough focus on the finish. You look at this drive, blew right by Hartenstein, not finishing at the basket. So it was just one of those things where you know the Warriors are capable of taking these shots, but maybe the pressure of the moment got to them. And it just didn't allow them to focus on finding a way to get the ball in the bottom of the net.
There you go. When everybody is missing like that, it almost starts to feel contagious too, because you can see that fight happening. But this is what happens when you're this much off in the league. And I'm making a little inches sign right now. They went without about 5 minutes without a bucket. Counting it up, it was 14 straight missed shots. Now, what saved them a little bit was OKC wasn't scoring much in that game. So the Warriors in the fourth quarter. So the Warriors still had their opportunities, just couldn't get it done at the end. JK, Jonathan Kuminga, at the podium. He was the game's leading scorer for the Warriors with 19. Let's hear from him.
You get to start. Clearly, things weren't exactly working out for you early. What was happening there, and what changed when you went back in?
I haven't played for like 2 days, so I was just rushing into things. I mean, it felt good, but it don't matter how it felt. But I was just off, starting the game and just rushing into things, and haven't played for like 2 days. But that shouldn't be the excuse. So.
Could you describe like the illness that kept you out the past couple of games? Like the sickness, the illness that you had that made you miss the last couple of games?
What about it?
Could you describe it? Like, what were the symptoms?
Stomach. I wasn't feeling great. So I couldn't force it. I wasn't feeling great. So that was the problem.
And Draymond here was just talking about how important it is for you to be aggressive to get to the rim, and no matter what the lineup combinations are. How did you feel you were able to do that tonight, maybe after your first stint?
I feel like I just settled down, and just knowing angles to attack too, put a lot of pressure at the rim, and that kind of helped us. Even if I don't and I put pressure at the rim, that helped me to kick it out, and the rest of the guys gave easy shots. So I think that's just my main focus, and I always work on finding a way to get there. I work on my ball handling, so I can't be losing the ball, and I help it to kind of move my defender and just get to the rim every time. And I feel like I said that's been my goal, and I'm good at doing that. So.
In the last 5+ minutes of the game, you guys, both teams were having a hard time finding a bucket. And I'm just wondering, from you guys, what was the hardest part about just getting what you wanted during those final 5 minutes, because nobody was scoring?
I think it was just for us to just settle down. Mainly as you settle down, the game was going too fast. We're running up and down, and just rushing. The game was very close. And that was the main thing. It was just us players coming together and just settle down and just run out plays that can give us easy bucket. And I think we didn't do that very well. But defensively, I feel like we were playing good defense, but we're just rushing on offense.
To follow on the defense, what flipped for you guys defensively the last 3 quarters?
Just the energy that the second unit brought. Pat, Spencer, that second unit, they just came out there and they gave us all they had, and that's just a good thing coming from everyone else. The more the energy coming around, and that's how everybody feed off of it, and that's how we just picked up and we started playing good defense.
You had a few stops individually on Shea, on SGA. What is your approach to guarding a player like him?
I mean, I've been guarding for 4 years. I'm not gonna stop the ball every time, but I love playing against SGA. It just helped me to go out there and just learn my defense and get better. So, it's always a pleasure to play against someone that could be an MVP in our league. So, it's always a pleasure for me to go out there and guard him. It's a good challenge.
This was your first.
All right, let's discuss Jonathan Kuminga's night. As I mentioned, he was the leading scorer for the Dubs in this one with 19. He missed the last 2 games with that illness. Okay. Then he comes back, learns that he's going to be a starter. Interesting, because Steph Curry is not playing in this game. By the way, that's a big storyline, which we will get to. That's going to come up later in our show. Kuminga came in that first quarter. He shot 0 for 4, 0 for 3, but he stayed aggressive. What do you think about the way he started to turn things around, especially in that second quarter?
Well, he said that he came into this game not having played for 2 days, and so he was just doing things. And I would agree with that. The first quarter, you saw him putting up threes that he didn't need to put up. You saw him not doing the thing that he specializes in, which is this right here, going downhill and attacking folks. He was settling for an outside shot, which he didn't need to do. When you saw his offense get going later on in the game, it made more sense for him to have a little bit more variety to his offense. But earlier on, you want to go with what you know. And Jonathan Kuminga early on did not go with what he's known to be, which is this attacker, this feisty, downhill at the basket, whoever's in front of me, it doesn't matter, I'm getting to my spot type of player. And he wasn't doing that. So then you saw him over the course of the second quarter get going. You saw him get some buckets in transition. Then what happens? He gets his threes as well. And once his offense starts flowing, that's when his whole game really starts to unlock. He didn't really have any rebounds in the first half. Then you go to the second half, he's starting to offensively put some things together and rebound and put some defense together. So it was a slow start, which is tough because you really need a boost, especially when Steph Curry's not going to be in the mix to start the game. But it is good to see him be able to get back to what he's known to be good at and be able to refocus towards the end of the game.
I think he looked at the situation like, okay, Steph's not playing. Someone needs to score. Okay, why not me? And let me try to get myself going. 0 for 4, 0 for 3. He's tried to, space the floor a little bit, get some threes in. They didn't fall. Also had a turnover. So yank. He was pulled after about 5 minutes in this game. But what I really liked about his game was that, you're right, he just went back to his bread and butter a little bit. Had 10 points, 10 very important points in that second quarter, followed that up with 9 in the third quarter, 0 points in the fourth quarter, but it seemed like everyone went cold as a part of that drought.
And I want to talk a little bit about those buckets in the fourth quarter, because what you saw was Jonathan Kuminga trying to beat his defender. You saw him having to get into his handle a little bit more, which still needs a little bit more development. And as he was trying to get through his handle, once he beat his defender, I feel like there was so much energy expended on trying to get by his defender that by the time he got to the basket, he was rushing. Yeah. And he wasn't focusing on cleanly finishing the shot. He had so much momentum from getting by his defender that he went too hard at the basket. And so he kept missing buckets right at the basket.
Okay. One of the things Draymond mentioned post-game was Jonathan Kuminga, Pods, Pat Spencer. These are guys who changed the game in the second quarter. Let's keep going down the line a little bit. Pods in this game, 12, 8, and 5. Plus he had a block and a charge. There was some video that we wanted to show you, and we can still talk about it, but we have to say that our video screen went blank here, so we're going to do these blind. Maybe we can look at it this way. Other TV. Okay, Pods in this game, he had to take on a little bit more with Steph out. I felt like he rose to the occasion, even though, again, it turned out to be a tough shooting night.
Watch him in help here. Gets blown by, blocks from behind. This is not giving up on the play. So you keep seeing these opportunities here, whether it's offensively or defensively, him not giving up on plays, him creating another opportunity for his team because he gets that pat out and then boom, spots up, gets a three, finally hits a three. Yeah. Pods came into this game shooting 19% from three. He had struggled and he has struggled. His shot has significantly struggled this season. He needed that bucket. He needed that to open up. But there were so many other things that he did tonight that were huge for the Warriors, particularly on the defensive side and the rebounding side. 8 rebounds?
Yes.
8 rebounds as a guard. I mean, these are the types of things that, say what you want about his offensive game, you cannot deny how much of a boon he is for the Warriors when he's doing the things like the extra hustle plays, getting those charge calls in the right times, right? And also being able to get stops, defensive rebounds, period.
That flying rebound that he had, I felt like he took like a knee to the gut a little bit. I wanted to look at it again, but you get rewarded by the game, right? He gives it to Draymond. Draymond gives it right back so Pods can be in position for his first 3 of the game. And sure, a little bit of celebration, trying to get the crowd.
He was talking to guys.
Finally. He's like, finally. There you go. Because again, for a lot of guys, it wasn't the greatest start. When you look at Pods and Lindy, they struggled early on in this game. but Pods being more of an impactful player towards the end of this game, and I'm glad you spotlighted his rebounds as well. All right, let's also mention Andrew Wiggins here. We will talk about Pat Spencer later in the show, but Andrew Wiggins came out scoring the first 9 points of this game, then had the assist on Draymond's first 3 of the game. With Steph out, I was actually thinking this kind of needs to be a big Wiggins game.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
It was going to be. I mean, the way he started out 2 for 3 in the first quarter, and then he went 2 for 13 over the rest of the game. Now, I will absolutely say that I think having a contender like Jalen Williams as an assignment on defense,
that's tough.
Gasses you. We started this clip with him wiping his shirt. You saw him bent over a little bit over the hip because he was gassed in certain points. At one point, he rolled his ankle and played through it in the fourth quarter. I mean, he was incredibly tough, played the most amount of minutes tonight.
Yep, 35
overall. And so it was really difficult for him. You could see he was trying offensively to be in open spots, hit his open shot, and it just couldn't fall. I think he was just tired.
There was a lot of try for the Warriors. They came so close in this one. Instead, they are dealt their 3rd straight loss. One of the reasons, we always know when Steph Curry doesn't play, that changes things for the Warriors. When we come back on Dubstock Live, brought to you by Mancini Sleep World, we got to talk about Steph. What exactly is he dealing with? What kind of minutes does Steve Kerr think he's going to play in the future? And then sure, let's talk a little Pat Spencer. That's awesome, earning the respect of Draymond and a lot of people tonight.
Dubs Talk Live is presented by Mancini Sleep World. Visit Mancini Sleep World for our Black Friday sale. Save big on premium mattresses plus free delivery. Hurry in now or visit us online at sleepworld.com.
Hi everyone, we're back on YouTube. Lots of comments tonight. The regular folks in here, how you doing, guys? People saying 12-6, not a bad record, but it's the losing streak and how they've been losing. I know the Warriors haven't felt great about the leads they've given up. Almost clawed out of one of those big leads themselves, down 19 in this one. Pods hustles. I thought Pods was solid tonight, did his usual of making winning plays. And Otis says Pods provided a spark similar to last year in that 3rd quarter. Yeah, there's a lot of things that you could look at that Pods is doing. I felt like, did you feel like his shot selection was better tonight? And we also sort of covered that when he was missing, he wasn't as demonstrative. Thank you. I was going to say dramatic, but I wanted to pick a different word. He wasn't as dramatic.
You can put it together.
Okay.
Yeah, demonstrative works.
Demonstrative.
I agree. I mean, this was such a high stakes game. You could see, I mean, I was laughing when JK got frustrated over a foul call and the coaches were like, okay, calm down. But I feel like that was the intensity of the game, where whether it's Pods or JK or any of these youths being energetic about what's going on in the court or not getting their way or whatever, it was calm down. We got bigger things to handle. And so I think that that's how Pods approached the game as well. He was very energetic for what he needed to provide, but also focused on not arguing with the refs, not, doing anything like that. He was very much a leader out there, I would say. Even when his shot wasn't falling, you saw him doing a lot of leadership qualities. And hey, he wants to be like Steph. You saw that out there.
Opportunity. Yeah. So we're talking about Steph and then the Kerr bite. Is that correct, Dan? Okay. Back on Dubstock Live, brought to you by Mancini Sleep World. Steve Kerr said he got the news this morning in a phone call with Dr. Rick Celebrini that it's probably not a good idea if Steph plays tonight. And he's dealing with bilateral knee pain. Basically, Steve explained it's tendonitis. Remember the last game, Steph didn't come out and warm up. He played, but it seems like it's been something Steph has been dealing with for a little while, about a week. Why don't we listen to everything Steve Kerr said so you guys can know exactly what's going on with Steph?
He's been banged up the last week. His knees have been bothering him. So, this wasn't a surprise, but I talked to Rick this morning. He called me and made this recommendation, and I agreed with him. And hopefully this gives Steph the time he needs the next couple of days to get ready for our road trip. And so obviously everybody's got to step up and fill in, and we'll mix and match the lineups a little bit and see what we can do. I'm excited for the opportunity for a lot of our guys.
You think he will be ready for Saturday?
I do.
How much, I mean, like you said, it's kind of banged up in the moment, but how much of his minute totals really throughout the season and even looking forward is about kind of managing his body at his age?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's at 29. So the minute total's good. But at 36, you're just going to have more aches and pains. And, fortunately, the MRI that he had yesterday was negative. But it's, he needs some time to clear the tendonitis that's in his knees right now. And hopefully the next couple of days will do that.
All right, let's go through a few key things there. He expects Steph to play on Saturday, and it's just something that he needs to clear, I guess. So,
let me say it a little bit easier for Steve Kerr. He's older, folks.
That's sort of a 36-year-old managing his body. And taking
Absolutely.
this game off means he has the practice yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we don't know how hard Steph practiced yesterday, what he could do. Had this night off, has Thanksgiving off, has Friday off. The team is going to practice, but that's not at game intensity. And then he'll go back and hopefully play on Saturday. So this was a nice stretch of, I guess we can call it rest for Steph, which is key when they need to help him manage his body.
Absolutely. When you don't have Steph on the court, three things disappear. Number one, a lack of a ball handler when you've got an intense defense.
Yeah.
Right. And OKC, number one defense right now in the league. Right. So you don't have a ball handler. Then you don't have 3-point shooting. Period. You don't have the spacing necessary to allow a Draymond Green, a Kevon Looney, Jonathan Kuminga, and Andrew Wiggins to get into the paint because you don't have that threat that is that gravitational pull that is Steph Curry. And then the last thing, and the thing we saw most painfully in the fourth quarter, you don't have late game pick and roll options. The Warriors are right now third to last in the league in the amount of pick and roll possessions they have. So they're not a pick and roll team. They like to play off ball. They like to do their split action, get the ball in the post, let the actions roll out and see what wrinkles you can find out of that.
Okay.
They are not a team that likes to just put the ball at the top of the key and see what happens, but they will be in the case of late game, late shot clock, late quarter situations. And when you don't have Steph Curry, that's when your options run out, especially if that half-court offense isn't working. And so his absence was felt.
You could tell in the fourth quarter there weren't as many passes being made. It almost looked hesitant, like who's initiating things here? Who's going to take this shot? So you could feel them stalling a little bit.
You said earlier, when people are missing that many shots, everyone's missing shots, it feels contagious.
Yeah.
But what happens when something is contagious? You don't want to catch it.
Right.
Yeah. And so it's kind of like a little bit of a hot potato. I don't want the pressure of this shot. I don't want the, and so you wish you had a Steph Curry because he always wants the pressure. He always wants the smoke.
The next guy to miss. Yeah. You can sort of feel that, building up. Okay, well, they had to go to somebody tonight. They needed some kind of ball handler in this game. They put Pods in the starting lineup. He was joining Lindy. And then here comes Pat Spencer, who had only played in 3 games this season.
Only 5 minutes total, y'all.
They were garbage time minutes, respectfully. He comes in and makes his impact. Look at this man shouting and yelling like he's a starter. I really appreciated his game, and you saw him up close in the G League. What is this dude like?
There are 2 people that were probably in the media section that already knew this, and that was me and Kevin Dana, the play-by-play announcer for Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
This is what Pat has always been. He comes in, he sets the floor. Look at him call out this play so that this offense can run. He got the ball and said, go set up split action, make it happen. He's a leader and he's a competitor. Steve Kerr said this. He's one of the most decorated lacrosse players. He is at Loyola Marymount, still holds the record of NCAA scores as a lacrosse player. He's been through a hip injury. He's been through a wrist injury. He has fought through so much. He is the definition of a hardy, scrappy player. And you saw that out there tonight. I mean, yelling like a starter. He was yelling at refs. Even Steph, Draymond, and Kerr had his back on it. Like he is a really hard downhill, nose for the game type of player. And it was a really great fill for Steph's absence tonight.
Yeah, he picked up a technical. He also drew the 5th foul on Isaiah Hartenstein. So
he did.
Yes, so he's just a smart player in that kind of way. Oh, here's the technical, by the way. I feel like you need to watch
now look at him go downhill.
Watch the bench at Yeah, he's like, what
He
the?
thinks Marcel got him, and he is just
He's talking to the ref. Okay.
Call the expletive foul.
Oh, okay. There you go, T. Come on, go talk to him. He can't believe it. Okay, I asked him post game, did any of your teammates volunteer to
Look
play
at
for that?
him.
And he's like, I'm not worried about
They
it.
all had
I
his
know.
back. Look at
Look
Draymond's
at Draymond's face.
He don't believe
He's-
it. Boy, if you don't get out my face with that, that's exactly what he was thinking.
Disbelief. This was a long conversation, by the way, with Steve. And I actually felt like somebody needed to hold Steve back. I was starting to get a little bit of worried there. Anyway, Pat Spencer, a gamer. So at Loyola, he was the number 1 pick. He was
Out of the
drafted by
Premier,
the
yep.
pro league for lacrosse. He said, no, I'm going back to college for a year. I'm going to switch gears and play basketball.
Mhm.
Came up through the G League where you saw him.
Yep.
And now, he's with the Golden State Warriors. And he just kind of put it succinctly. If I'm going to be active, I got to be ready.
Correct.
And he was ready.
He had a full lift today, he said in the post game. That's crazy.
Okay.
As a person that played basketball, a full lift
Yeah.
means your legs are dead. Your
Yeah.
body is fatigued.
Yeah.
And he found out just before the game that he was playing.
Yeah, come
That
play.
is what you have to do in the G League, guys. It's one of the most impressive leagues because you literally don't know until seconds before, hours before. You got to drive up to be ready to play. And
Yeah.
also against OKC, this isn't a casual, game. This
No.
isn't against a below 500 team. This is for who's the best in the West.
Mm-hmm.
And he showed up tonight. So good on him.
Yeah, number 1 versus number 2, and Pat Spencer making his mark with about 15 minutes in this one. All right, when we come back on Dubstock Live, brought to you by Mancini Sleep World, we know it doesn't get easier from here. The Warriors have lost 3 consecutive games. What is coming up on the schedule? What do you think, Pods? We'll ask the crowd. Hi. All right. Do we have any questions in the YouTube? We can see if we can get to some of those quickly. Somebody says Steph is going to eat Aisha's cooking tomorrow and he'll be ready for the Suns. Okay, listen, fill up on food and family and football and whatever other F words you want to choose. There you go. There you go.
That's true. She's going to throw down in the kitchen.
Oh, Aisha?
Yeah.
Yes. I would imagine she's an exceptionally good cook.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh my goodness. I'm ready to eat.
I am too.
What time do you eat?
You got to have 2 meals, right? You do a little bit of a mini breakfast.
Yep.
And then some people like to eat at like 1, which makes sense. But let's be real. It's probably going to happen around 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, it always
Yeah.
creeps.
It always
the
creeps.
timing is.
You can like bite some stuff in the kitchen, but you have to
Uh-huh.
mostly stay out of
Yeah.
the kitchen. Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should talk about this. Let's not over talk about it right now. Actually. Yes. Bob Chillin says keep playing Kuminga so he can learn how to close games with Curry. There was an interesting comment from Steve postgame about Kuminga wishing that he was a starter. So that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obvious, but also to hear Steve just sort of like, he said that just sort of offhand, and I was like, yeah, I can see that. So, okay,
Yeah.
here's Kuminga starting. Oh my goodness.
Whatever it is, you got to start fast. And the thing is, like you
Oh,
I don't have time.
Yep,
but
yep.
yeah.
Hold that thought. All right, what is coming up for these Warriors on Saturday? They get a nice turkey day. Friday, they get a practice. Saturday, they get to play Kevin Durant and the Suns. That is an away game. Yes, and then they play the Nuggets away as well. Ooh, high altitude. Gosh, I remember those ones. Then they're back here for a back-to-back against the Rockets and Mini. So the Suns, Nuggets, and Rockets. By the way, the Rockets have moved into number 2 in the West. They are 14-6. The Warriors are 12-6. So they just got leapfrogged tonight. The back-to-back versus Mini. Mini's interesting. They've lost 4 straight. They don't have a winning record at this time. And I don't know if you saw this post game with all the other work that we were doing. But Ant was saying that
I saw it.
that locker room is not as close this year.
I saw it last
That was
night.
very interesting. First of all, he has no filter in interviews.
No, he doesn't. But he said this before. So coming into their game last night against the Rockets, they lost that game. He said we don't play hard enough.
Okay.
Then tonight he says that we're not together enough.
Okay.
So he's saying he's keeping it real.
Yeah.
Which you appreciate.
Which I appreciate. I like honesty.
It's very refreshing to hear, especially from a leader on this team. This is his team now. It's not Cat's team anymore. And so he is being very real. And I'm hoping his teammates are hearing this.
Yes.
But it is so obvious how disconnected they are on the floor in general. And I feel bad for Dante DiVincenzo because he looks so sad out there. And he's a team-oriented guy.
Yes.
And you're seeing Rob Dillingham, they're freshmen. They're rookie. I'm in women's college basketball right now.
Sure.
But just also looking like he wants so much team play.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of ISO. It's a lot of bully ball with Randall. It's a lot of ISO with Ant. It's a lot of, Rudy Gobert's playing the hardest he can from a defensive end, of things, but he's not getting the opportunities offensively because everything is can you just get an offensive rebound and try and figure something out for yourself?
Yeah.
So they got a lot of things to figure out.
Yeah.
What the Warriors need to be worried about is the Sun.
Okay.
The Suns and Denver. Now
Okay.
the Suns just lost to the Nets
Interesting.
at full force. People need to stop sleeping on the Nets.
They do. Cam Thomas is even out from the game with the hamstring.
Oh, that's right. Actually,
Yes.
yeah.
They didn't have him
So
tonight.
that's what I'm saying. So the Suns were at full force.
Yes.
Brooklyn was not at full force.
Yes. Oh, I understood.
Yes.
That's right.
And then Denver Nuggets,
Mhm.
same thing. Like you got to these two teams capable of taking losses.
Yeah.
And the Warriors are too, right? And so these are matchups where they're going to step up to the plate. These are going to be Titan type of games, right? Going up against Jokic, going up against Kevin Durant. So like you said, you hope that Steph Curry is back in the mix, but you also hope that everyone on this roster gets up.
Yeah.
Cannot have a slow start against these teams.
Yeah, and Steve indicated that he thinks that Steph will be playing on Saturday. So it sounds like this is just season-long pain management for Steph.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate to hear. I don't even know if we would say yet at this point, is Steph going to miss back-to-backs? Is he going to? We just don't know. And it sounds like Steph has been through a lot of injuries in his career,
Sure.
been through pain in his career. I trust his ability to play through that.
Right.
His conditioning is right. But still to hear that this is a nagging injury for him. Yeah, at age 36, those kind of creaks when you have to wake up in the morning and the body maintenance.
I got
you
him a
have to
little
do.
early.
That is concerning. That is concerning.
Yeah.
So,
But like you said, you trust his ability to manage it and
Yeah.
to also know what he can go through.
He was at this game. He was rooting for his boys. They didn't get it done. So a 4-point loss. The Warriors have lost 3 straight games in the number 1 versus number 2. I like numbers like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Have a happy Thanksgiving,
Happy
everybody.
Thanksgiving,
We
y'all.
will see you back here on Saturday. Okay. Otis is saying the vibe does feel different around the T-Wolves this year. They probably should have kept Towns.
Yeah.
Maybe. He was going to be a lifer in Minnesota.
And Edwards literally said, to follow up on the rest of the quote, he said that people are further apart. Last year, they were super close.
Yeah.
They're further apart. It's John Krasinski at The Athletic that wrote this or got that quote from Ant. And you could see it. There was a point last night when I was watching the Rockets game, Rob Dillingham at the end of this is their rookie, number 8 pick. Like he wasn't expected to play for their team because they were supposed to have Julius Randle and all these other people. He's now important, but he only played 6 minutes tonight. They don't manage that. I'm telling you, there's a situation in Minnesota. But Rob Dillingham playing so well at the end of the game, he is in the huddle. He puts his pound up. What do you think is going to happen at the end?
Everybody nope.
Girl.
They walked away?
All walked up. Just walked away. And he literally went like this.
Oh no.
It's visible.
Yeah.
It's tangible.
That's not how you want to start your career either. With
I
that
mean,
no,
I
that
felt
kind of-
so bad for him. And the thing about it is when you think about the fact that the Timberwolves have a Mike Conley, who
I
is
was just wondering if he was still.
he is the epitome of a leader, but
Yeah.
he had been out
Okay.
with a toe injury, and that's why Dillingham was playing for a while. But he can't even. There's so many big personalities.
Sure.
And that's why I feel like if you look at the Warriors and you look at this 3-game loss, I'm not concerned, right? Because the vibes are good. And you heard Pat Spencer in his post-game presser. He said, we got good guys all up and down our roster.
Mhm.
And you can see that everyone wants to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Right? People aren't trying to do these individual type of things.
Mhm.
People are trying to play together. Even when Jonathan Kuminga was breaking down defenders, he's still looking and trying to kick. Everyone was playing like that. And so if that's your foundation, I think you're in a good place.
I want good things for Dante DiVincenzo too. Oh my
Girl.
God, he lives. Remember his sound bites about how he wanted to set up Jordan Poole? He's like, I'm here to shoot. It's not an exact quote. He's like, I'm here to make Jordan Poole look good. I'm here to get him free, and it's like,
and that's how he plays.
Yes, that's how he plays.
And so it was just really, he just looks sad.
I want him to find a good home.
I know.
Anyway, we got on the Timberwolves somehow.
We're speculating. I don't know how happy he is.
But
or
it's
not,
also like now Ant is thrust in a position where he has to be more of a leader, and he's still one of the younger guys on the team.
He's only 23.
So I've always liked him.
Think what you were doing when you were 23.
No thanks. We gotta go. Bye, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.